Shit, yeah. Hell yeah. Stay with nature, stay connected. We're sort of classed as perts, 2 in 1, you know, like the shampoo and conditioner in the one bottle. Yeah. we're classed as perts because we're sort of half here and we're half townies, you know, blah, blah, blah. But he is so hooked into everything. Our other uncle, he's a suburban Māori. But the real funny thing about it is that he doesn't see taniwhas, he sees ghosts. You know? And when you're back out here, you see taniwha, but you don't really see ghosts. So it's all mixed up. Yeah.
Cool.
But I believe staying connected, nice and simple.
Yeah. Well, also with the haka, you know.
I mean, you have to listen to the land. Yeah. I mean, like if you hear this bubbling away, it inspired a haka. Here we have geysers which shoot up, you know, and the climax of our dance is to hold energy and then release it, jumping up in the air, 140 men, and you make your feet smash your ass with your buttocks, you know, bang, thunder, poof, you land again. All of the geothermal here was brought by Hotupuku, who was another taniwha. Te Pupu and Te Hota, they actually stayed up in Hawaii, and Ngāto Roirangi was a high priest who lived over, well, he made his way down to Taupo. He was freezing. Telepathy sent it out to his sisters, Kuido and Haungoro. They heard, they sent their ahi tupua, or their subterranean fire goddesses. They made their way through here, and everywhere they stopped is where geothermal created. Now they had a son called Hotupuku. There was Hotupuku, Pekehaua, and another one called Kataore. Those are the 3 main taniwhas of this area here. Hotupuku used to live out of a place called Kapenga, and whenever he heard rumbling, you know, he would sort of perk up, hear it, and then dive back underground, you know, and he could, piece of cake, you know, he would have been a GPS, just hunt them down, and that's what he'd actually do. He'd make his way underground, boof, present himself, grab them, and take them back up to his caves. Yep, a natural Camelot. Yeah, with a natural moat. Yeah, so it was created in around the 1400s, 1450 I think, by a local tribe called Tamaihutoroa. You have the captain of my canoe called Te Arawa, is the name of the canoe. It's named after the taniwha, the shark which brought us here. The captain was called Tamate Kapua, who had a son called Kahumata Moemoe and Tawake Moetahanga. Tawake Moetahanga had a son called Ihinga, and Ihinga had a son called Tamaihutoroa. Now Tamaihutoroa was he was a strong, he was the man. He was like Luke Skywalker. You know, he was just amazing, like skill and everything, but real clever, but also, you know, he was hooked into another realm. And it's his people who were actually named the Dragon Slayers, Ngāti Tamaihutoroa. And it was up to them. They were led by Pikaka, who was the most ferocious warrior in this area here. And his 2 lieutenants were Rongohaua and Rongohape. And then there were 2 other famous warriors called Hokura and Reretoi, and they're actually in the meeting house here on site. So this is where their main station was. Hotupuku, that taniwha that we were talking about earlier, he was eating a lot of the people who would travel between Taupo and Rotorua. And you know, eventually they on the main track there, they found out, well, obviously, you know, messengers weren't actually getting through here, sent a huge war party. And their main objective was to find out what was going on. Maybe they thought it was an ambush. They came across Hulu, them actually shot all the way back to Taupo, and another lot made their way here and got in contact with the main guys here, who then picked up their 300 warriors, went down and they killed Hotupuku, they destroyed him. And on reaching there, they heard about Pekehaua, who was another taniwha who lived out at Awaho. Sounds like a bit of a mixture of a crocodile with a shark. You know, just massive. I always think of Godzilla. And when I sort of hear it, you know, big teeth, big eyes, scaly, you know, just real reptilian features. And they knocked him off as well. They built this cage, and Pikaka jumped in it with a big rock and sank himself to the bottom of it. And the high priest up the top there, they put him to sleep. Noosed him, they pulled him up, and then they killed him. They speared him, they clubbed him to death. Cut him open, like Clive was talking about earlier. And there was the armory of Maui and all of the other people that he had eaten. And the other one was called Kataore, who lived up around Lake Tikitapu and around by Lake Tarawera. And once again, he would eat all the people who were passing through there. And it was these guys here, Pikaka, Rongohaua, Rongohape, Purahokura and Reretoi, and their 300 warriors who actually went down there and they dispatched them as well.
What would you say the terrain was that all these taniwhas would live? Was it kind of rivers, caves, jungles?
So, Pekehaua lived in a river. And he lived very similar to Taukahu, the one that we were talking about earlier, about Kuido. So at the bottom, Taukahu lived in the bottom of the lake in the den. Pekehaua lived in a river at the bottom, and he is still seen today actually, some people say, but now he takes the form of a log. Kataore, he lives in a den, And Hotupoku, well, he was subterranean. So you have Ruomoko, who is the unborn child, so he's the cause of volcanism. Then you have another layer where Te Pupu and Te Hoa actually travel, and then above them you have Hotupoku, who was, when he was subterranean, he was fluid. But when he came up, he was physical.
Wow.
Okay, he could take a physical form, and that's how he was dispatched. Yeah, that's how he was
Once
killed.
he was physical.
Once he was physical,
Yeah.
once he broke through.
Yeah.
Yeah, once he broke through. My opinion about it, it's just what it is, you know. Yeah, I mean,
because it can mean everything. It can be a shark, a whale, it can be a fish, it can be a plant. You know,
it could be trees, rocks. You know, I mean, it's just different. I mean, like how people saw and interpret things. No doubt about it. I mean, like I was saying, my personal family one. You know, that half horse, half human. Yeah, so for me. And then of course the shark which brought my canoe over here, like we can track a link to that as well.
What kind of shark was it? Great white or?
No, it was an arawa. It's actually called an arawa, and the real interesting thing about it is that you can still find this type of shark in Tahiti today, and it has the name arawa.
Yeah.
And our grandfather actually, Hiko Hohepa was his name, a brilliant guy, he's passed away now, but when he went back to Rangiatea, back to Raiatea, a sign or a tohu that always followed him was this huge big red shark.
Red.
Yeah,
wow.
It was massive, and the Tahitian priests freaked out when he pulled up to one. There's a sacred marae called Tapu Tapu Ate, which is where the high priest used to go and get educated. And when Koro Hiko turned up, there was this big red shark behind him. And I mean, it wasn't there, but it was there, you know. And all the priests just said, "Shit, ooh, shit." You know?
That's okay.
Yeah, sorry. They just said, "Wow, you know, something's really different about this guy." And the name of the shark was called Arawa, and it was the Arawa which brought our tupuna from Hawaii, you know, down to Rarotonga and then down to Aotearoa. So wherever we go, we're known as the shark people. Yeah, so we're all taniwha. Yeah, like we anoint ourselves with shark teeth as well.
Really?
Hence the reason that we also put on moko, because it's a half, you know, shark. It's the hammerhead. So when you distort your face, you get that predator look, the elongated, you know, chin and whatnot. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. No, yeah. I think it's great. I mean, like we were discussing earlier. You've given up your time. You've invested your own bloody money into it. The research that you've done is really, I think, it's exquisite. Like coming through the type of questions that you have there, the content that you have in there as well is just unbelievable. The knowledge that you've acquired, I think, is remarkable. And I just really respect you for it.
Only in half a year, man. You know, some people study Taniwha for their whole lives. And
yeah, rightly so.
I've crammed everything into half a year, and I know I'm never going to get to the bottom of all of them, but I'm trying. You know?
Yeah, but it is so right. I mean, like, I totally believe, and wherever you go, like, opportunities, like, openings are going to always open for you, like, if you're right about it. I mean, like, if this was not meant to happen, then that crap that landed on that laddie should have happened on you.
Yeah.
You know?
I look at it that way as well, man.
Yeah. Well done. What would I like to see in the film? True representation of Māori. You know, as long as you're honest to yourself and your belief in it, and hopefully that'll come through in the presentation and in this. You know, what it is what it is. That's pretty much it. Last go. Good luck.
Cool.
Yeah. Kia kaha.
All right. Thank you very much, man. Kia ora.
Taniwha hard. Yeah, dude.